The challenge begins. The crowd was loud. Alien voices from all parts of the galaxy shouted in excitement. Lights flashed over the giant battle arena in the center of the Sky City, floating above a purple planet. This was the Galactic Combat Tournament, the biggest event in the universe. Warriors from different worlds came here to prove who was the strongest. Everyone was waiting for the next fight. On one side of the arena stood Ziraka, the champion from the war planet Drezek 5. She was tall, covered in shining red armor with sharp horns on her helmet. Her people believed in power, pain, and pride. Ziraka had never lost a single match. On the other side stood a human soldier. His name was Corporal Jox. From Earth, he wore a simple black uniform. No armor, no laser weapons. In his hand, he held something strange. Unchuck. The alien crowd burst into laughter. "What is that stick toy?" someone said. "Where's his gun? Where's his armor?" another shouted. Ziraka smiled under her helmet. "Is this a joke?" she asked the announcer. "Do humans think this is funny?" The alien announcer, a creature with 6 eyes and floating robes, replied, "The human has chosen his weapon. The rules are clear. The fight begins in 30 seconds. Ziraka laughed. "Fine, I will end this fast." Jox didn't smile. Looked calm, quiet. He spun the nunchuck slowly in his hand. The weapon made a soft whip-whip sound as it cut through the air. Ziraka walked forward and raised her voice so all could hear. "Human, I respect bravery. But this is madness. Throw down your toy and surrender." Jox replied with one sentence. "You've seen swords, now see speed." Then the bell rang. The fight began. Ziraka rushed forward like a machine. Her heavy boots shook the arena floor. Her fists were like steel hammers. One hit could break bones. She swung her arm at Jox, aiming for his head. But Jox wasn't there. He moved fast, faster than anyone expected. He ducked under her punch, twisted to the side, and the nunchucks cracked against her armor. Crack. The crowd gasped. A piece of her shoulder plate broke off. Just like that. Ziraka stepped back in shock. That shouldn't be possible. Her armor was made from forged star metal. Jox didn't stop. He moved again, like water flowing over rocks. His nunchucks danced. One strike hit her knee. Another hit her ribs. Crack, smash, crack. The crowd went silent. Ziraka tried to fight back, but she was too slow. Every time she moved, Jox was already gone. His weapon moved so fast, it was hard to see, and each hit broke more of her armor. Ziraka felt pain, real pain. For the first time in years, she tried a final desperate move, a full-body charge. She ran straight at him, roaring. Jox stepped aside. Clean, easy, and with one last spin of his weapon, crack. Her helmet flew off, landing far across the arena. She fell to one knee, breathing hard. Her armor was in pieces. Jox stood above her. He didn't look tired. He didn't even look angry. He whispered just loud enough for her to hear. "Still funny?" The silence in the arena was deep. No one laughed now. No one cheered. Even the council members watching from their high floating seats looked confused, worried. What just happened? A human had defeated the undefeated. And he didn't use lasers or robots or war machines. He used a pair of sticks. Ziraka looked up at Jox, her pride broken, her body shaking. She didn't understand. She had trained for years in gravity, twice as strong as Earth's. She had fought beasts with 10 arms. She had broken mountains with her bare fists, but Jox had broken her in less than a minute. The announcer finally spoke, voice shaking. "Winner, Human Corporal Jox of Earth." Some in the crowd clapped slowly. Others sat in silence. Many We're afraid. Because if one human could do this, what could 10 do? What about 100? Or a whole army? Ziraka did not speak. But one thought echoed in her mind. This is not over. The arena was still quiet. Ziraka had been carried away. Her armor was broken. Her pride was shattered. The undefeated warrior of Drezek 5, beaten in less than 1 minute, and not by a superweapon. Not by high-tech alien tools, but by nunchucks. The Galactic Council didn't speak. They simply watched Jox leave the arena. Calm, focused, no cheering, no celebration. Like this was normal for him, but it wasn't normal for them. Somewhere deep in the council chambers, an old blue-skinned alien named Valor sat in front of a glowing screen. He was one of the oldest minds in the galaxy, a historian, a watcher, and he was worried. He rewound the fight in slow motion. Frame by frame, he watched how the human moved, how fast his arms were, how balanced his footwork was, how he struck with precision, not just power. He paused the video, zoomed in. The nunchucks had hit a weak spot between the armor plates, not by luck, by design. Valor whispered to himself, "They don't fight like soldiers. They fight like predators." Back on Earth, flashback 3 years ago. Jox was in the mountains of Northern Earth, training, no guns, no team, just silence and stone. He had lived with old masters, martial artists who believed fists could move faster than bullets. They trained under waterfalls, fought blindfolded, bled in the snow, and every day Jox trained with nunchucks until his hands were bruised, until his speed was faster than thought. "Why do you use such an old weapon?" Someone once asked him. Jox answered, "Because when the enemy expects lasers, they never see the stick coming." Present Time Council and Panic the Galactic Council gathered behind closed doors. "These humans are not what we thought," said a tall alien with crystal skin. "They hide their strength," said another. "They act weak until it's too late. They use low tech," said a third, "but their minds are sharp." The council leader, a being made of living light, stood slowly. "We allowed them into this tournament to show the universe they were small. A new species, nothing more." Now the leader paused. "Now we have something else. Now we have a problem." Ziraka's quarters. The warrior Wakasharaka opened her eyes. Her body ached. Her pride felt worse. A medical bot hovered over her. "Do not move," it said in a soft voice. "You suffered 17 armor breaches, 2 ribs cracked, head trauma. But you will survive." Ziraka didn't reply. She was thinking, not about the pain, but about the fight, about how that human moved, about the moment she thought she had won and realized too late she never had a chance. Strange reaction, and then something strange happened inside her. She laughed, not out of madness, out of respect. "He didn't fight me," she said. "He read me like a book. Every move, every breath, he knew." The bot beeped in confusion. "You lost." "No," she whispered. "I learned." A mysterious invitation knows later. A message blinked on a screen. In her room, from Galactic Council subject, proposal text, "You may have lost your match, but you are not finished. We wish to study the human more closely. You will work with him, not as enemies, but as a team. A survival test awaits. A deadly planet, you and him. Only together can you leave alive." Ziraka's eyes glowed. Perfect. Meanwhile, Jox receives his orders back in the human base. Jox stood alone, polishing his nunchucks. A human officer entered. "The aliens want a test," he said. "They want you to team up with a warrior you just beat." Jox looked up. "Why?" "They want to know what humans are really made of," the officer replied. Jox smirked. "They're about to find out." A cold, strange planet spins in the distance. Black skies, no sun. Constant storms. Massive creatures move in the shadows. This isn't a combat arena. This is a hunt, and this time, the hunters may become the hunted. The ship entered the planet's orbit with a sharp hum. No music, no welcome. Just silence and cold fog pressing against the glass of the landing bay. Jack stood at the edge of the ramp, eyes locked on the dark landscape ahead. This was not a battleground. It was something older, wilder. The ground was cracked. Black trees reached toward the sky like claws. Lightning flashed behind the clouds, but no thunder followed. The planet had no name. At least not one anyone alive remembered. Behind him, Ziraka adjusted her new armor. Lighter, faster, designed not for brute strength, but for speed. She had asked for it. No one argued. Jox glanced over. "You sure you're ready for this, Ziraka?" Gave him a sharp look. "You beat me once." "That doesn't mean I'm weak." "No," he replied calmly. "It means you're still standing. That means you learned." They stepped out together, their boots sinking slightly into the dark soil. The mission was simple on paper. Survive 72 hours. No extraction. Unless the emergency beacon was activated. No weapons except what they brought. But Jox knew the truth. This wasn't a test. It was a message. From the council, we're watching. By the second hour, the forest closed around them. No animals. No wind, just the strange sound of something moving. But never seen Ziraka walked ahead, scanning with her visor. Her voice was steady. "There are old ruins nearby, not on any map." Jox followed, quiet. His eyes moved constantly. His ears tuned to the silence. He didn't trust silence. Not. On a planet like this, they reached the edge of what looked like broken stone towers. Ancient writing lined the walls nothing either of them could read. Then they heard it. A low growl. Not close, but not far. Ziraka raised her weapon. "What was that?" "Trouble," Jock said. "And it's watching us too." They moved into the ruins, taking cover behind collapsed walls. The sound circled them, sometimes above, sometimes below. Ziraka looked up. "Why send us here?" Jox crouched beside her. "Because they're afraid. Of us." "Of what?" "Happens when we stop fighting each other. Start working together." Then it struck. Not with sound, not with warning. Just motion. A blur of black and bone. It moved like a shadow butt with weight. With claws, Ziraka fired. Missed. Jox rolled. Under the creature's leap and cracked his nunchucks against its leg. It screamed not a roar, but a sharp, insect-like screech. It vanished again into the dark. Ziraka's breath was heavy. "What was that?" Jox didn't answer immediately. He looked at the claw mark left on the stone wall. 4 cuts. Each one over a foot long. He finally spoke. Something old. Something angry. Night fell faster than it should have. The stars didn't shine here. Only flashes of red light, distant like dying stars. They built a fire with strange wood that hissed when it burned. Ziraka sat across from Jox, her hands tight around her weapon. "I hated you," she said suddenly. Jox didn't react. She continued. "Before the fight, I thought humans were weak, arrogant, soft. And now, I don't hate you," she said. "I still don't like you, but I understand you." Jox looked into the fire. "You don't need to like me. Just don't underestimate me." The fire cracked. In the distance, they heard the growl again. Closer. Zir, aka, stood up. "It's not hunting us." Jox rose beside her. "Then what?" She looked into the trees. Her voice was low. "It's waiting for something." Jox didn't blink. Or someone. The ground beneath them shook just once. Not like an earthquake, like something taking a single heavy step. Ziraka whispered, "We're not alone, and this planet isn't empty." Jox gripped his weapon tighter. This wasn't a test. She finished his thought. It was a trap. And the shadows moved again. This time, they didn't wait. Asterisk, they ran. Not because they were afraid, but because whatever was following them wasn't afraid of them. Branches snapped behind them, loudly, precisely, as if whatever stalked them had learned how sound worked, how humans breathed, how Drazaki warriors moved. Jox ducked under a stone archway covered in ancient symbols. Ziraka followed a second later, her visor flashing warnings. Multiple life forms, no clear form. Moving like smoke. Jox's voice was calm. Smoke doesn't make the ground shake. She didn't reply. She couldn't. Her heart, if you could call the Drazaki organ a heart, was hammering. They stopped inside a half-buried structure. It looked like a temple, not alien, not human. Something else in the center was a sphere, cracked and glowing faintly. Faint whispers echoed from it, not in words. In emotion, fear, rage, hunger. Ziraka stepped forward. "This isn't natural." "No," Jox agreed. "It's a memory." She stared. "What?" He touched the edge of the sphere. His mind flashed images, fast and wild. Towers falling under red skies, shadow things slithering across glass. Cities, the council, younger, terrified. Running, he pulled his hand back fast, his breath cold. This planet wasn't empty. It was sealed. Ziraka blinked. "You're saying this is a prison?" "No," Jox said. "I'm saying this is where they put the thing they couldn't kill." And then the lights inside the sphere went out. The structure groaned. Dust fell from the ceiling. They turned on. The door they entered from was no longer there. Only stone. Sealed.jx looked around slowly. "This was planned," Ziraka whispered. "By who?" And from the shadows, something answered. "Us." The voice didn't belong to any creature. It wasn't even truly sound. It was in their bones. Ziraka turned her weapon on the dark. "Show yourself." The air shimmered and then bent. A form stepped forward, made of threads, like muscle without skin. It had no eyes. But it saw them. Clearly.jx didn't move. He simply asked, "You were waiting for someone to open the gate?" It nodded, slowly. Ziraka asked, "Why us?" "Because you beat each other, and still walked together." The creature didn't attack, it just watched. Then it turned and walked back into the dark, expecting them to follow. Ziraka hesitated. "Are we really going after it?" Jox's voice was steady. "We're not chasing it." She frowned. "Then what are we doing?" "We're walking into the part of the story the council tried to erase." Okay, only. They moved deeper into the ruins. The walls began to change. Stone gave way to metal. Ancient metal. Older than Earth, older than Ziraka's species. Strange lights blinked above them. And the air grew colder. Symbols glowed on the floor. A history in pictures. Ziraka read what she could. They came from outside the edge of known space. Not to rule, not to conquer, but to infect. She looked at Jox. This was never about us. Not the fight, not the tournament. It was a test. No, Jox said. It was a distraction. Behind them, the wall sealed again, and a voice echoed not. The creatures, not the council. It was human from a speaker on Jox's wrist. Jox, if you're hearing this, they lied to us. A new voice broke in. Rough, male, commanding. Do not trust the council. Earth Command intercepted data last week. This planet is waking something up. It's not part of the games. It's ancient war tech. Biocode, alive. The Signal broke off. Zaraka turned slowly to Jox. "So, they sent you here to die too?" He nodded. "But they forgot one thing." "What?" "I don't die that easy." From the dark corridor ahead, the thread creature watched them, waiting. Leading, not an enemy, not yet, but not a friend. Not ever. The light inside the hallway wasn't light at all. It felt like pressure, like something behind your eyes, pushing forward. Jox blinked twice and focused. Zaraka's boots made no sound. The metal floor absorbed everything's sound, heat, even thought. The creature ahead of them didn't walk. It drifted, like it had forgotten how gravity worked, like it wasn't meant to be here at all. It didn't look back. It didn't need to. It knew they would follow. Zaraka whispered, "It's leading us somewhere." Jox kept moving. "Not to. Show us. To test us again." They passed through a doorway older than language. The metal curved like bone. The walls were breathing slowly, almost like a living thing. Inside was a chamber, round, empty, except for one object in the center. A seat, no throne. No wires. Just a seat of black stone, floating above a glass floor. Zaraka stepped forward. "What is this?" Jox looked down. Beneath the glass, thousands of them, figures. Sleeping, connected by long tendrils like roots. Each one faintly glowing, each one shaped, almost human, but not. Zaraka's voice dropped. "They're alive." The creature behind them finally spoke. "They were soldiers, once, until your council buried them." Jox turned. "Why?" "Couldn't control them?" Zaraka's fists tightened. "You mean they made these?" "No, they found them." The glass under their feet lit up suddenly, showing ancient maps, strange star paths. Then, Earth, bright and clear. The creature tilted its head. "The human home is near a path we do not walk." Jox stepped toward the seat. "What happens if someone sits there?" The creature didn't answer, which meant it knew. Zaraka moved beside him. "You're not thinking of, I'm thinking we were sent here to die," Jox interrupted. "But maybe this is a door. Maybe this is a weapon," Zaraka hissed. "You don't even know what it does." "No," Jox agreed. "But the council fears it." "That's enough for me." The seat pulsed, like it hurt him. He touched it. Pain shot through his hand, but he didn't pull away. Images flashed again, faster this time. Not memories. Options. Worlds burning. Worlds spared. Paths chosen. And one phrase kept repeating. "Only the one who knows fear, but does not stop. Only that mind may open the gate." Zaraka stepped back. "This is a choice." "No," Jox said. "This is a threat and a promise." He sat, and everything went dark. Not black, not blind. Just dash off, like the universe blinked when it came back on. He was standing again. But not in the same room. Not even on the same planet. The air was hot, orange sky, red sand. Machines half buried in dunes. He looked down. His body was younger. He was back in time, but not in a memory. In a message from the creators of the buried army, they spoke without mouths, their shapes unclear. But their warning was simple. The council tried to bury war. But war has a memory. And then you broke the seal. Now the signal is sent. Jox blinked once and was back in the chamber. Zaraka was staring at him. "What did you see?" He didn't answer. He couldn't, because every star path, every ruin, every warning, had pointed to the same thing, Earth and far above them, in the council's orbiting towers. A signal had just reached a locked system. An alert began flashing. Simple phrase, Vault 9 open, human interface detected, release underway, and somewhere deep in council space, The old war woke up. Asterisk, the stars above Earth blinked. Just once. A flicker no human eye noticed. But every military satellite did. In the control room under Nevada desert, alarms rang with no sound. Only red lights. Only screens freezing. Then one line appeared on every monitor. Human interface detected. Vault 9 release confirmed. No one in that room knew what Vault 9 was. But the man in the back corner, an old general with one blind eye, stood up slowly. He whispered, it wasn't a myth. Far away, in orbit above the dead planet, the Galactic Council watched the data spike in real time. They didn't shout. They didn't panic. They simply stared. One counselor, made of crystal nerves and living gold, broke the silence. He sat in the chair. Another leaned forward. Then it's begun. The council's leader closed her eyes. Prepare the failsafe. But one voice objected. A young diplomat from a minor moon. He's human, she said. You sent him there. You lied. You used him. The council didn't reply. They just erased her from the room. Not killed, just removed. Like she was never there. Below, Jock stood alone. The chair gone. The glass beneath his feet, now black and solid. Soraka stared at him, her voice rough. What did you do? I didn't do anything, he said. I just sat down. She stepped forward. The planet changed. I felt it. Something woke up. No. Soraka looked at the walls. Symbols were glowing now, not red, not yellow, white, cold, final. She placed a hand on one. This isn't Drazaki tech or council. This is older. Pre-language, pre-star. Jox said nothing. Soraka turned to him. You need to tell me the truth. He looked at her, then he said it. I think this whole planet is a weapon. She froze. What kind of weapon? Jox answered softly. A mirror. Above them, deep in space, something moved. Not a ship. Not a fleet. Something old. Silent. Waking up. Like a hand reaching slowly across the void. Ships near it. Lost power. Stations stopped. Transmitting. Stars dimmed, and on every council device, in every language. The same message appeared. The interface has been accepted. Observation mode ended. Judgment begins. Back inside the ruins, the creature made of thread and bone reappeared. But this time, it bowed. Cir, aka, reached for her weapon. It didn't move. Jox didn't reach. He just spoke. What do you want? The creature tilted its head. We are fragments. Warnings, we were left behind to test minds, not armies. Soraka frowned. Then what happens now? The creature turned to her. Now? Now your kind and his will be seen. Not as warriors, not as rulers, but as reflections. And then it was gone. No noise. No trail, just gone. The ground began to hum beneath their feet. Not like shaking, more like breathing. Soraka clenched her fists. We need to leave. Jox looked up. They won't let us. Who? The ones watching. She looked to the sky, her voice cold. The council? Jox shook his head. No. Older than them. Back on Earth, people saw new stars appear. Not through telescopes, through dreams. Children spoke strange numbers in their sleep. Animals refused to move toward the oceans and high in orbit. Earth's moon lit up with symbols no one had ever carved. And deep inside the moon, Vault 9 finished opening. Soraka stared at Jox, her voice sharp. Tell me this, human. Are we all ready? Too late. Jox looked at the glowing walls around them. He thought of the training, the pain, the nunchucks, the silence of Earth's mountains. He said one word, maybe. But then he added, or maybe, we're just on time. And behind the walls, thousands of sleeping forms, half human, half something else began to wake. Not angry. Not afraid. Ready? They didn't rise like soldiers. They rose like memories. Beneath the stone, beneath the code, beneath the lies the council built around history, the forgotten stood up 1,000 by 1,000. Not machines, not clones, not monsters, something else. There. Bodies had human shapes, but their skin shimmered with data. Their eyes glowed with math. They didn't speak, but every one of them carried the same message. A message Jocks could feel burning behind his ribs. We waited. Now we move. The sky above the planet cracked just a little. A thin split of blue light across endless black. Council ships rushed to the edge of the system, but their weapons failed to lock. Their sensors spun without meaning. Inside the High Council Tower, chaos bloomed slowly. Not screaming denial. Meetings, orders, lies. They kept saying, we have time, we have control, we have power. But the stars weren't listening anymore. Ziaraka stood near the entrance of the awakening chamber, visor off, face bare. Her voice was quiet. This is too much. Too fast. Jocks stood beside her, watching the glowing army rise without sound. They sealed it away because they feared what they didn't understand, he said. Now they don't get to understand it. They just get to answer. She looked at him. You sound like a judge. He shook his head. I'm just the door they pushed open. A signal pulsed from the core of the planet, soft, steady, ancient. It went out into space. Beyond the council. Beyond even Earth. But Earth heard it first. Inside every satellite. Every drone. Every phone, one phrase. Corporal Jocks, authorized. The president didn't sleep that night. Neither did the generals, or the scientists. Or the AI guardians orbiting Mars. A decision had to be made. Respond. Or stay silent, and Earth, being Earth, chose both. Half the world sent peace. Half the world built war. But Jocks's voice cut through it all, a broadcast hijacking every channel. No bravado, no shouting. Just words. This wasn't about strength. It was about being watched. Now they've seen us. And they've decided we matter. He didn't say if that was good or bad. He didn't need to. The galaxy could decide that for itself. Ziaraka stepped forward. Where will they go? She asked. Jax looked at the army now fully awake, staring at the sky, unmoving. They don't go, he said. They wait. They spread. They test. For what? For who's ready? She turned to him. And what about you? He looked at his hands. The scars. Strength. The story. I go back to Earth. Ziaraka frowned. Why? You've changed everything. Jocks smiled. Just a little, because someone's got to explain this mess to my dog. The sky opened a little more. Not fire. Not invasion. Just a path. A signal trail of light, reaching from that buried planet to the edge of known space. A whisper. An invitation. Show us what you are. On council worlds, fear turned into silence. On neutral moons, prayers turned into curiosity. But on Earth, children stopped having nightmares because now they weren't the small ones anymore. They were the answer to a question the galaxy forgot it asked. And in the ruins, where it all began, a single cracked stone lay untouched, carved into its surface long ago by someone long forgotten word for words. Humanity was not first. But beneath it, freshly written in blood, was a reply. No. But we're next.